push out of the womb. You gotta pick out of the ground. Gotta break out of the tomb. You got to be lost to be found. You walk before you run, and you roll before you crawl. Can't start if you're not done. Can't fly if you're afraid to fall. Let the sun shine, let the moon glow, let the wind shine and the water flow. Like dandelions, catch a breeze and let go. When your face hits the dirt, plant some roots and maybe grow a little. The phoenix and the flame, the night before the dawn. You must begin again if you're gonna carry on. Just listen to the secret that the butterfly sings. You gotta lose your mind before you get your wings. So let the sun shine, let the moon glow, let the wind chime and the water flow. Like dandelions, catch a breeze and let go. And when your face hits the dirt, plant some roots and maybe grow a little. New beginnings aren't made for the faint-hearted. Takes a lot of nerve to even get them started. Faith and hope are not enough to see you through. It's gonna take some courage and it all comes down to you. Let it shine. Let it flow, flow, flow. And when your face hits the dirt, plant some roots and maybe grow a little. Let the sun shine, let it grow a little. Let the wind shine, let it flow, flow, flow. When your face hits the dirt, plant some roots and maybe grow a little.
Welcome to the Greater Philadelphia Center for Spiritual Living, your transformation station, your Isle of Tranquility in a sometimes churning sea of silliness. It's your place of possibility, your welcoming space of study and practice of the principles of science of mind. I'm Maxine Kay, spiritual leader of this awesome community, and your morning cheerleader for God. Here we offer spiritual tools for practical purposes. Wherever you are, geographically or spiritually, you are so welcome here. We are all about awakening humanity to its spiritual magnificence, and we are working together to co-create a world that works for all, and we love you already. Now let's have our opening song. This is written by Karen Drucker, performed a couple of years ago by our music team. God is my source.
If you choose, please stand, and we're going to sing together, God is my source. Here we go. God is my source. God is my power. God gives me everything I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings. God gives me everything I need. Love is my source. Love is my power. Love gives me everything I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings. Love gives me everything I need. Joy is my source. Joy is my power. Joy gives me everything I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings. Joy gives me everything I need. Peace is my source. Peace is my power. Peace gives me everything
Oh, what a lovely memory. Thank you so much. What would you say to having a little short meditation right now? Okay, let's just breathe together. Breathe in deeply that loving life of spirit. Feel ourselves filling up with that beautiful energy, that divine life. And let that breath now become a bridge to your heart. And here we begin to see with the eye of the heart. We begin to hear with the ear of the heart. Now let's imagine a great no-thingness, infinite possibilities within the not yet imagined. Energy swirling, no form, just presence and power. Let's enter more deeply into that image now as we come into the sacred silence for a moment or two. And now let's give thanks for the readiness of creation to begin to emerge. Let's be prepared to celebrate life, knowing that something beautiful is always emerging. Be still and know that I am God. All is well. All manner of things are well. And now will you speak with me our purpose statement? Ready? Living, loving, learning, spirituality that works. And now I'd like to introduce our practitioner, Sarah Funk, to open us up this morning with treatment.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Sarah Funk, and I am a licensed religious science practitioner with the Centers for Spiritual Living, and I will be doing the treatment this morning. And before I do that, I want to read a small paragraph. May the depth of your crisis remind you of who you really are. May your pain bring you into the light of awareness. May your journey through it give you hope. And when you have made it through the storm, may you feel great peace and joy. So I will do this treatment in the first person, and you can take it for yourself if you so desire. In this moment, I know the peace, the prosperity, the joy, the compassion and love that are the truth of my being wherever I am. God is expressing as me and through me. And in times of challenge, crisis, upset, chaos, I know that power, that presence within me understands it's a movement into creativity. That no matter how challenging things may seem, there is a greater truth to be known. So I move through these times of challenge and crisis, knowing at the very center of my being is that divine power that leads me always to a greater good. So I am very thankful and very grateful that this is so. And I know it is true for each and every one of us. So I release this treatment into the holy law, knowing it is manifested and done as stated. And together we say, and so it is.
Thank you, Sarah. Now let's affirm together. I wisely welcome each opportunity for growth, opening to a greater awareness of the power within me, now ready to emerge. Oh, hi, kids. Gather round. It's time I get to talk with you. I wish you could talk with me. The day will come. We can do that again. In the meantime, welcome, welcome. Good morning. Hi, my darlings. I miss you very much. When I see pictures of you, you have grown 1 or 2 feet. I mean tall. I don't mean more feet. Okay. Do you like Play-Doh? I love Play-Doh. Do you like clay? Do you like making things out of the Play-Doh or the clay? I think we all do. We can create something wonderful, maybe a dog. And so we make this little dog, and we think it's pretty good. Maybe we make a hot dog, or maybe we make a horse, or maybe we make a house. Whatever it is that we create, there it is. We've done that. But then we want to make something else. So what do? Smash it, right? And start all over again. Now you've just got the Play-Doh or the clay, and you make something else. It's creating something new. And you may not know what it is you're going to create yet, but you know that you want to make something because the artist in you must always make things, however we do that. So that's kind of what we're doing now, you see, because as you take that dog that you made yesterday and then smush it down and you just have that pure material to work with, then maybe you want to make a unicorn. Maybe it'll be something even more beautiful than what you made the day before. So that is kind of what we're doing now from the challenges we've had this past year. Can you believe it's been almost a year? And we've moved through it because we know that we are connected to God and to each other, even when we're not in the same rooms together. And we've moved through it pretty gracefully. Classes online and finding ways to Zoom with Grandma and that kind of thing. And we aren't, by the way, going back to normal. Let's just forget that. Because we're now thinking up brand new ways to be. Just like you started with a horse and now you've got a unicorn. We don't know what our unicorn is going to look like exactly, but we do know that the creative power of God, that intelligent activity of the divine within us, is always creating something new and wonderful. And you and I have the great joy of doing that together. A brand new way to be. So it's not only okay to start with the gooey mess of material, it's necessary, and that's what we're doing now. Okay, enjoy the rest of your day. Nice rainy day here in Pennsylvania or wherever you may be. Now it is my great joy to introduce our very, very special guest speaker today. I have known the work of our speaker since the 90s. And my first read was his wonderful, life-changing book, Callings, Finding and Following an Authentic Life. He's a well-known author, lecturer, and transformer of consciousness. He's respected and admired not only by our own centers for spiritual living communities, but as a writer and a teacher and a lecturer by those in many fields, including psychology and medicine and beyond. In fact, Dr. Larry Dossey rightly proclaims his material is both spiritual and practical. Well, we had the pleasure of hosting him here a few years ago, right here in Paoli, and it was wonderful. And today, it is my great honor to introduce him virtually this morning. His topic is so timely, the call of challenging times. Please welcome Gregg Levoy.
Hello, CSL Philadelphia folks. Gregg Levoy here, coming to you from the West Coast. I am delighted to be able to share some thoughts with you here at the top of the new year, as well as after a year that we thought perhaps would never end, but also, of course, in the continued midst of tumultuous times, but also opportune times. For example, I myself this year have finally found myself entering the brave new world of online teaching and presenting, which only took me 10 years and a plague to finally come around to doing. I love teaching. I've just always identified myself as a high-touch, low-tech kind of a teacher, so I've always opted for the in-person teaching opportunities. But those, of course, have all abruptly changed, as most of our lives have abruptly changed. I'm essentially in the business of public gatherings, lectures and workshops and retreats and conferences and such, and that has all gone the way of the dodo bird this year, and really for the foreseeable future. And if you yourself are a teacher of any kind, or a performer of any kind, or you work for a company whose doors have closed, you're also having to adapt, as I have. I mean, at least if we want to continue sharing our work with the world and perhaps making a living, all right? Now, at the risk of being blunt, nature has a pretty simple word for those who are unable or unwilling to adapt to change. And the word is extinct. And I think it goes as much for the individual as it does for the species. And this pandemic year is clearly calling on us to adapt, okay? And, you know, for some people, the new regime in Washington is calling on them to adapt. But to adapt is really just another way of saying to grow, okay? So some of you may be familiar with the name Abraham Maslow. So Maslow is the psychologist who gave us the hierarchy of needs pyramid, okay? At the bottom, food, clothing, and shelter. Above that, belonging to a tribe, etc. At the top was what he called self-actualization. Actually, right before he died, he added a new pinnacle to that pyramid. He called it self-transcendence. But this is what he said about self-actualization. He said that self-actualizing types, all right, now these would be the kind of people who tend to fulfill their potential, also tend to be the kind of people who make the growth choice over the fear choice routinely, okay? Now, Joseph Campbell, who of course gave us the hero's journey and the bumper sticker, Follow Your Bliss, said that phase one of responding to a calling, which of course is the beginning of any hero's or heroine's journey, is running from it. All right? Phase one is fear and resistance, and maybe anger at having your boat rocked, which of course callings specialize in. Okay? Though it's quite possible that the degree of resistance you might have or have had to whatever this pandemic year has been calling for from you is possibly proportionate to the amount of growth and power that are waiting to be unleashed once the no turns into a yes, okay? But the pandemic, for example, has been offering us an AP class, a graduate level class in boat rocking, as well as in adaptation. And actually humans have proven themselves to be extremely good at adaptation. But now that a vaccine has finally shown up for the coronavirus, it is based on the following wisdom, which is really the basis of the entire science of immunology, which is that you introduce a little bit of chaos into the system to strengthen it. You shake it up for the sake of helping it grow and evolve, okay? And I think the chaos of this pandemic year may be offering us the same deal. And I think it's interesting that in the central creation story in the Western canon, which is Genesis, chaos with a capital C is described as the condition of the earth before it was formed. Okay, the condition of the earth before it was formed. So what I take that to mean is chaos precedes creation. And if you deny yourself the one, you're going to deny yourself the other. All right, it reminds me of something Red Fox once said. Remember Red Fox from Sanford and Son? He said, heroes are not born, they're cornered, which I think is a brilliant insight. All right, so one way to approach this whole pandemic year, one of the purposes that it can serve, in other words, is in exploring how your own life might grow and evolve as a result of it. You know, what the chaos in the coronavirus may be calling for from you, whether creatively or professionally, interpersonally, spiritually. Okay? It's really an opportunity, in a sense, to take an inventory. You know, to step outside and look back in through the shop window at your life. How are you responding to all this? How have you been responding? What are you discovering about yourself? Where are growth and creation being evoked? Or maybe more to the point, provoked. Right? But I think it's useful to consider these questions in a personal context, not a planetary context. So it's not so much what is this calling for from us, from humanity, but what is it calling for from you personally? And not to look at this, from a philosophical point of view. What's the ultimate purpose of all this? Or how might this be a reset for humanity? Good question, but more, how might it be a reset for you? Okay? And to pose questions to yourself along the lines of what wants to emerge or awaken for you at this juncture? Okay? What's been given an unexpected entrance cue by all this? What course corrections are being called for? What silver linings are appearing? And of course, what do you want your new normal to look like once the pandemic is in the rearview mirror? Okay, so let me give you some examples of the kind of questions that I've been asking of myself this past year, and will in fact in the webinar this afternoon. Here's one. Science tells us that an asteroid ushered out the dinosaurs and gave the mammals underfoot, including our forebears, a shot at prominence. Okay, so using that as an analogy, when the, if you will, dinosaurs of the status quo have been sidelined, which really I think they have for most of us, parts of us that are normally overshadowed are going to have a chance to come out into the light. Okay, let me give you an example. I've got a friend who owns a retail store, and he says that because he doesn't have any customers coming through the store anymore, though he's in the store Monday through Friday doing the online part of the business, but because he mostly doesn't have any customers coming through anymore, he's actually discovered that after all these years, this is a tremendous relief. And that he's more of an introvert than he knew himself to be. In fact, that his reputation and his identity as Mr. Social doesn't actually fit him anymore. So he's taking some time now to explore this more introverted side of himself. Okay, so you might ask, what, if any, parts of yourself you're seeing coming out of the shadows in this past year? All right, what are you discovering or maybe rediscovering about yourself as a result of this? Okay, here's another question. Shakespeare wrote Macbeth, King Lear, and Antony and Cleopatra during a plague. All right, Sir Isaac Newton discovered gravity and invented calculus while he was in quarantine for the bubonic plague. Okay, and I myself have, at the risk of putting myself into the same sentence with Sir Isaac Newton and William Shakespeare, I have discovered that this past year has been one of the best things to happen to my writing in years. Because among other things, it's given me a tremendous focus for my work, for some of my work, and a lot of very juicy and compelling subjects, topics to sink my teeth into. Okay? So this is not to diminish the very real misfortune that a lot of people are experiencing as a result of this pandemic and political upheaval year that we're having. But it's possible that, for instance, the sudden disruption in your daily rhythms, or even the isolation, could unleash your creativity, your inventiveness, your resourcefulness in ways that would not have happened otherwise. Okay? Not saying you're going to discover any fundamental laws of the universe or write the next Macbeth, but you might just finish that novel that you've been, daring and double daring yourself to write forever. Take up the guitar, start a garden, finish some of those home improvement projects, that you've been back burnering in deference to the daily grind. Okay? So you might just simply ask, however modest, what bursts in creativity have you noticed coming out of yourself in this past year? Okay? And one last question. Some people think that the pandemic is just a biological event. Okay? It's just an organism wanting to reproduce. There's no master plan here. There's no grand scheme of things. There's no nature sending us to our rooms to think about what we've done, which of course is one of the memes that's been making the rounds since last March. Okay? This is just predation to these people. It's not punishment. All right? Then there are those who genuinely believe that this is the dawning of the age of Aquarius. This is the beginning of the great turning, the new consciousness. All right? The long hungered for reset for humanity. And to be sure, there's plenty of opportunities in all this for the spiritual optimists. Lessons to be had in unity and interconnectedness and compassion and service and reaching across the proverbial aisle, to say nothing of non-attachment. Okay? So to whatever degree you resonate to the second line of thinking, that there's a perhaps greater purpose in all this, maybe even a lesson. What do you imagine that might be for you? Again, not for humanity, but if all of these events have unfolded to offer you a lesson, what do you imagine that might be? Okay? Now, an interviewer once reportedly asked Albert Einstein, of all the questions you've posed into the mysteries of the universe, Mr. Einstein, what do you think is the most important question to ask? And Albert Einstein reportedly said, is the universe a friendly place or not? So how you answer that question is going to impact and determine how your life unfolds, I think. How you're going to interpret and respond to the things that happen to you, including events like the pandemic. Okay? Now, you've heard the expression, trust the universe. Trust the universe. So I've been thinking about that idea lately, as I often do at challenging periods in my own life. But I've been trying to drill down into it a bit more this time. And I've been wondering, what exactly does that mean? Trust the universe. What does that mean? What aspects of the universe are you trusting when you say you trust the universe? And is this a skill? And if so, is it one you can build? Okay? Now, this goes by a lot of different names. And frankly, it has a noble lineage. Let go and let God. Trust the process. Have faith. Don't push the river. Thy will be done. Okay? But the definition of trusting something is believing in its reliability. Just taking that from the dictionary. Trusting something means believing in its reliability. So right off the bat, there's a catch here. Because on one hand, the universe is certainly reliable. I mean, sun comes up, sun goes down, gravity works, etc. But the universe is also reliably unpredictable. I'm thinking of chaos theory, or Murphy's Law, or the law of entropy, or the famous shit that happens. Okay, so saying that you trust the universe has to include trusting that it is reliably chaotic and random, which are forces that clearly operate on affairs down here on the home planet. I mean, we've seen that in extremis just early this year, all right? And they, of course, operate in our own individual lives, all right? So trusting the universe means trusting it to be itself, which is a combination of predictable and unpredictable. And again, that you yourself will behave in pretty much a similar fashion. Now, this requires a skill that I once heard somebody describe as heroism redefined for the modern age, which is the ability to tolerate paradox. Paradox, all right? To hold two seemingly contrary ideas or impulses or energies or beliefs inside you at the same time and still retain the ability to function. If not, hang on to your cookies and your marbles and your lunch, okay? And paradox requires that you bring these opposing forces together to talk to one another, not retreat to either side of the boxing ring or something. Bring them together to talk to one another, educate one another, word that means to draw out, okay? Tolkien, who wrote Lord of the Rings, said, it doesn't do you any good to leave a dragon out of your calculations if you live near him, okay? So I think it's sort of like that idea. And so trusting the universe, as well as finding some meaning and purpose in this or any particular manifestation of it, like the pandemic year, may ultimately be a matter of staying in conversation with the universe, in co-respondence with the universe. And really, I think there's lots of ways of doing that. Dialoguing with the dragons in your life, asking for dream guidance, okay? Listening to your body, trusting intuition and synchronicity, spending time out in the natural world, meditation, journaling. I mean, really, journaling is a fabulous tool for staying in conversation with the universe. I'm thinking of something that Ira Progoff once said. Progoff is really one of the grandfathers of personal journaling. He devised something back in the 60s called the intensive journaling process. And what he said about journaling is that the point of journaling is to go down deeply enough into your own well that you eventually hit the stream that's the source of all the wells, which I think is ravishing. But it also shows what a perfect tool journaling is for staying in conversation with the universe. To say nothing of just helping to feel your way through events like the pandemic or like the political turmoil we're experiencing, all right? One of my own responses to the pandemic and to the financial anxiety that it's brought on is to rearrange my morning schedule to now include an act of trust. Not just an abstract notion of it, but an act of trust. So what I'm doing now is, among my morning routines, I'm now playing 15 or 20 minutes of piano before coming in here, into the office, to work. And I'm partly doing this just to demonstrate to myself that I can afford the time to do that. Okay, so I'm bundling in an act of trust, not just a high opinion I have of myself. In fact, one of the diagnostics that I now use to know whether I'm trusting the universe or not is when I make counterintuitive decisions like that, okay? Responding to fear with, say, surrender rather than striving, or choosing passion over security sometimes, making the growth choice over the fear choice, okay? Or trying to allow things to happen rather than always trying to make them happen, make money, make a living, make ends meet, make headway, make a difference, make sense, make love, more allowing. You know what I'm saying? So ultimately, trusting the universe may be less a practical issue or even a psychological issue as much as it is, I think, a spiritual enterprise. It's not necessarily about strategizing or coming up with new affirmations or behavior mod, all of which are great ideas. As much as I think it is often just sitting respectfully with things as they are. I grant you a high art, but sitting respectfully with things as they are. Feeling what you feel without even needing to understand it. No, let's do something about it. And of course, having a certain forbearance for mystery out in the universe and in here. You know, the willingness to hang out in the dangle with things as they are. Okay? So in closing, I would humbly encourage each one of us to answer Einstein's question. Answer Einstein's question for yourself. Is the universe a friendly place or not? And maybe to explore why you think the universe is either a friendly place or not. All right. I will also add that the webinar this afternoon from 12:30 to 3:30 is a very hands-on opportunity to explore what the chaos of this whole year is calling for from you and what you'd like to take from it moving forward into whatever your new normal is. Okay, so I hope you'll come. And I want to thank you so much for inviting me back to share some thoughts this morning. And I'm going to sign off now and wish each and every one of you blessings.
I love it. Oh, I feel so inspired. Thank you so much, Gregg. And I'm very, very much looking forward to the workshop this afternoon. Thank you. Now it's time to share our offering. And what we offer is from our hearts, our blessings, our goodness, our best thoughts, and our financial support. So whatever your gift is and however you choose to give it, online or in person or mailing it or whatever, let's imagine we're holding that gift to our hearts and giving thanks that it is an expression of the abundance of this universe. And will you join me together saying the prosperity affirmation? I choose to celebrate prosperity. Divine love blesses my gift. It is my acceptance of God as my source of my abundant supply. With joy and gratitude, I share my abundance with this center. In doing so, I am one with the law of circulation. My tithe goes forth to heal, to prosper, and to bless, and it returns to me multiplied abundantly, and I am prospered, and so it is.
Close my eyes, I open my heart, I'll take a deep breath, let the healing start. I lift my hands, I plant my feet, I let love in, I feel the beat that's calling us to rise, rise, spirit rise up, rise in me, and let in my soul, I clear my mind, I'm here and now, in present time. The power of 1,000 suns. lighting up the dark. Oh, we rise as one. Oh, rise, rise, Spirit, rise up, rise in me. Oh, rise, rise, Spirit, rise up, rise in me. Rise in me. I sing to you, I sing to you. You sing to me, you sing to me. Change up this noise, make sweet harmony. Come on and rise, oh rise, Spirit, rise up, rise in me. Oh, rise, rise, Spirit, rise up, rise in me, rise in me. Heart to heart, hand in hand, no turning back. Onward to promised land. Do you feel the power of 1,000 suns lighting up the dark? Oh, we rise as one. Love's calling, calling out your name. Love's calling. That's why we came. Love's calling, calling out the name. Love's calling. It's why we came. Come on and rise, rise, Spirit, rise up, rise in me. Oh, rise, come on and rise. Oh, Spirit, rise up, rise in me. Rise up, rise up, rise up, rise up. Come on and rise up. Come on, lift your hands up, jump, reach for the sky, going up high, higher, yeah. Rise up. Come on, raise your voice and shout. Love is alive, we're bringing the light brighter, brighter. Rise up. Come on, lift your hands up, jump, reach for the sky, going up high, higher, yeah. Rise up. Come on, raise your voice and shout. Love is alive, we're bringing the light brighter, brighter. Rise up. Come on and rise up.
Hello, I'm Tina Richards, so proud to serve on your board of trustees, and I have today's announcements. We're so happy you joined us today, and we'd like to thank our special guest speaker, Gregg Levoy. If you would like to continue the discussion, please register now for his workshop starting today at 12:30, entitled The Call of Challenging Times. The 3-hour Zoom workshop will be well worth the $25 fee. Just go to our website at cslphilly.org and all of the information will be there for you to register. I'd also like to remind you that Reverend Mike's ongoing Science of Mind textbook study group on Zoom each Saturday morning from 9:45 to 11 a.m. You can jump in anytime for free. To register for Reverend Mike's study group, either call the office or email Linda at admin@cslphilly.com. Again, you can go to our events calendar for all the details on our website. Again, that's cslphilly.org. And finally, do you have any social media experience? We're looking for someone who could just maybe lend a hand for an hour per week. If you have any experience with posting to newspapers or maybe perhaps some Facebook experience, contact me at what is my phone number? 267-773-9773, or contact me by email at tr_richards@yahoo.com. Those are today's announcements. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you, Tina. Oh, and again, I'm so looking forward to Gregg Levoy's workshop at 12:30. We will definitely be there, and I invite you to immediately sign up so that you can participate as well. It's life-changing. I do want to read this small quote from Ernest Holmes because it's exactly right on today's topic. Through the continual emergence of the creative principle, any last finality proves to be but the beginning of a new creative series. We have to continue to express this action of life within us because creativity is our divine essence. And now we'll have our closing song. It's very fun. Good old Bobby McFerrin's song, and it's performed by Playing for Change.
Don't worry, be happy. Yeah.
Here's a little song I wrote. You might want to sing it note for note. Don't worry, be happy. In every life we have some trouble. When you worry, you make it double. Don't worry, be happy.
Be happy. Don't worry.
Oh, that video makes me smile with my heart every time I see it. Please do go immediately to our website so that you can participate in our, well, it'll just be a little over an hour in our workshop with Gregg Levoy this afternoon, because this is what we're going to be doing. From chaos into order and great new creativity. So, very, very grateful for the opportunity to be with you today. And let's have a benediction and off into our beautiful Sunday. For the life of the one is the life of each and every one of us. The intelligent creative activity is at work within us, presenting the most fabulous new ideas beyond anything we ever imagined. We are open, we are willing, we are ready, and we are the ones who are making the great changes in our own lives and ultimately in the world. And so it is.